JAAG Properties.
My name is Alfonso Salemi. I'm one of the co-founders of JAAG Properties. I'm a fairly new dad, not so new anymore. I have a just over 1-year-old son. I'm engaged to the love of my life. I have a passion for business and really an entrepreneur to the core, and truly passionate about helping others succeed. And you know, that's what brought me to the rent-to-home space. A little bit about JAAG Properties. JAAG provides tenant buyers an opportunity to move in and enjoy immediate possession of their home before they can actually qualify. So, you know, those individuals that can't qualify for conventional financing for whatever reason, we offer that opportunity so that they can actually move in, start enjoying immediate possession of their home, and you know, a safe place for them to live and call home. We work with joint venture partners, providing hassle-free investment opportunities for anyone looking to grow or expand their real estate portfolio. So, you know, that's a little bit about enough about us. We're going to talk about what brings you here tonight. And before I do, I need to show this, our disclaimer. So JAAG is a specialized property management company that focuses on tenants for residential and rental properties owned by private individuals or corporations. JAAG provides property management services, including but not limited to collecting rent, bookkeeping, physical inspections, and property maintenance. JAAG utilizes the rent-to-home program to satisfy both tenants and tenants who are looking to eventually purchase the properties that are rented, as well as property owners who are looking to minimize their involvement as landlords. JAAG does not provide any financial investment advice to either tenants, landlords, or property owners, and JAAG encourages all clients or potential clients of JAAG to consult qualified, accredited professionals, including legal, accounting, and investment advisors prior to engaging JAAG services. And the opinions expressed by JAAG's employees, duly designated agents, or third-party contractors or consultants are the opinions of those individuals alone and should not be relied upon by anyone interested in becoming a tenant, landlord, or residential property owner, either as a client of JAAG or any other property management company. So that will satisfy the lawyers, making sure that that we have everything covered from that side of things. But again, truly grateful for you to be here tonight, and we're going to talk a little bit about the different types of strategies and where to invest that hard-earned money. You know, as we were getting onto the chat here, we had different people talking about why they're here, why they want to invest, and the different reasons that they want to invest. So where do we invest that hard-earned money? Typically, there's 4 traditional ways that you can invest your money. One being into the stock market, right? Others, RSPs or GICs, real estate, obviously my personal favorite. And then what we're going to talk about tonight is impact investing or socially responsible investing. So yeah, so let's get into the different ways or the different, I guess, pros and cons when we talk about the different types of investing, right? So when we say, the stock market, how can you invest your money into the stock market? Some of the pros or the advantages of investing in the stock market is that it's a fairly passive investment. There's a low barrier of entry. They're easy to buy. There's different apps and the different technology that's available to access or to buy those stocks. So those are fairly easy, and you don't need a lot of money to get started or to invest in the stock market. With maybe a few $100 or $1,000, you can get into some different stocks depending on the type of stocks that you want to invest in. But some of the downsides, I guess, it can be a little bit risky, right? It can go to zero. There are different stocks that you need to be aware of that can be risky of the investments or decisions that those businesses are making. The time to research, right? When to buy the stock, how to buy the stock, when not to buy, when to sell, right? So the time investment, in understanding the different stocks that you'd be investing in. And then again, like I said, that lack of control where, it can go to zero, right? Where, it's really out of your hands. There is no control. It's not something tangible. You're at the mercy of basically, reading the graphs and charts on a daily or weekly basis, understanding what's going on, but really have no control. So potentially maybe the stock market is a little too volatile. And then we talked about RSPs and GICs, right? So, you want some protection. You want, some security. Typically you're investing in these for your long-term future, for that retirement, to keep up with cost of living, or, have a nest egg at the end when you are, done those, full-time working years. So that's maybe why you'd look at an RSP or a GIC. Some of the downsides is maybe the cost to access that, right? So if you have money locked into an RSP or a GIC, to access those funds, or that lack of control to access those funds, can be quite costly. Typically, you're going to get lower returns when it comes to an RSP or a GIC, because, especially in terms of GICs and guaranteed income, those returns are going to be typically lower, guaranteed to be lower, right? And that means there might be a potential loss of income, right, or a potential loss of opportunity where you're not able to maximize your return if you're investing in that GIC or that RSP. So there's potential potential income that you're missing out of. So maybe RSPs and GICs are a little too conservative. Then we talk about real estate, right? Like I mentioned, my personal favorite, JAAG, falls right under that category of real estate. But there's all different types of real estate investing, right? You have multifamilies, and you can do flip properties. There's commercial properties, apartment buildings. You can invest in REITs. So there's multiple flavors, if you will, of investing in real estate. But the reason that you would invest in real estate is typically you want cash flow, higher returns. That's usually what you get with real estate. It's an appreciating asset that it's not going to go out of style. People are always going to need somewhere to live, and there's several tax advantages in owning real estate as well too. So those are some of the reasons or pros that of investing in real estate or different types of real estate. I guess some of the hurdles or obstacles when you're looking at real estate is the capital needed, or the type of investment or the amount of investment that you would need to make when you're investing. Typically, it's a little bit higher when we're looking at as an income generating property, 20% down payments, and obviously with purchase prices, what we've seen they've done over the last few years, typically higher capital or a larger amount of money is required when you're investing into real estate. And then you have the property and renter management, right? So making sure that the property is upkept and all the things that are done in terms of maintenance and upkeep of that property. And then obviously managing the people that are living in those properties, the renters, right? Making sure that they're paying on time, making sure that they're maintaining the property. And their life circumstances can affect your business. They're sick from work, or unable to work, or loss of job, or all different types of reasons. But again, that management of those tenants, making sure that they're keeping up and making those payments into that asset that you're buying. So there's a lot of time involved, right? So managing those types of things can, especially if you are working full time, have a family, have other hobbies, interests, that could take up a lot of time when you're investing into real estate. So maybe the real estate is a little too hands-on when it comes to investing, right? In certain investments actually. So and then finally, what I get excited about is talking about impact investing. It's another type of investing that you may or may not heard of, and it's a socially responsible investing, right? It's a return for investors while contributing and improving the communities that they live in and work in. Right. So actually making an impact. And that's why we've coined the phrase, the return on impact, because we all know we want to make a return on our investment. That's why we invest. We want our money working for us, right? As Warren Buffett says, if you don't invest, or you're going to be working your whole life, right? Working for money, and you want your money to be working while you're sleeping, right? Making money while you're sleeping. So there's all different types of socially responsible investing. Some examples of that would be, education programs, after school programs, before school programs, those types of things. Healthcare, obviously there's a need for healthcare as an aging population. It's all over the media, the different types of, deficiencies or lack of accessible healthcare in certain areas or certain communities. Attainable housing is another example of socially responsible investing, right? So that's again where we fall into of how we can help people get into their homes, how can they become homeowners, and how can we make a great return on our investment while we're actually helping those people get on track to own their homes, right? So how can you have it all? And that's what we're here to discuss tonight on ways that you can have it all. It can be frustrating. We know if you're not making an investment, you are losing out with the inflation numbers, with everything that's going on in the economy. If you aren't putting your money to work, it's just sitting in a bank account, or if it's not being put to work, then you are losing out on that money. So that it can get a little confusing or frustrating, right, on where to invest or which type of investment option you select, right? And I didn't even talk about, the NFTs and Bitcoins and sneakers and all types of collectibles and all those types of things. So there's a whole different, whole bunch of different types of investments that you can look at. And if you don't have that time or that expertise to dig into the details, or have someone do it for you, that can be frustrating. It can be definitely confusing on, again, back to the stock market. What should I invest? Or RSPs, what is my portfolio looking like, right? And that fear of missing out, knowing that if you're not taking action, if you're not actually putting your money to work, you are losing money. And if you don't invest, you're not going to get further ahead. And you know that you can't do nothing, right? You can't just have that money sitting and just spending it. You'll be working for that paycheck, or working for that, and you do at some point, I assume, want to retire and have that standard of living that you expect for yourself, for your families, right? So and what we truly believe is that you shouldn't have to choose between making a difference and making money, right? If that's the case, then I believe there's something wrong. You shouldn't have to choose between making a great return or helping people, or putting into your money into things that are just kind of innate, or like a stock market where it's great, but you're not actually, you're helping a corporation, you're helping nameless, faceless people. It's great for that return, but how can you have both, right? How can you make an impact and make a great return? So that's what we're going to talk a little bit more about today, on how you can do that. And I think we have a great product, a great service that will be able to help you with that. So yes, generating hassle-free returns while creating a positive impact is JAAG's Rent-A-Home Investment Solution. So, some of you, I recognize some of the names on here, and if you are watching this in the future, you might want to ask, who is JAAG Properties, or who am I working with, or who is that handsome guy with that great haircut talking on that screen, and who is JAAG Properties? So I want to give a little bit of a background. JAAG Properties has successfully worked with over 200 rent-to-own projects. We've worked with over 100 individual joint venture partners, providing hands-off, hassle-free rate of return with the security and stability that you want, right? So we are investing in real estate. Again, that is a solid, secure investment with that security. And for almost 8 years, along with our partners, we've been making a positive social impact in the communities and the areas that we live in, helping people get onto the path of home ownership. So you'll see there at the bottom of the screen some logos or some branding there. And the first one is CAROP, and that's the Canadian Association of Rent-to-Own Professionals. JAAG is a proud diamond level member of CAROP, and CAROP is the collective voice of rent-to-own professionals across Canada, operating ethically, striving to create successful outcomes for their clients, investors, and their programs. The next one you'll see there is the London Chamber of Commerce. We're a proud member of the London Chamber of Commerce, and just recently, actually in September of this year, we were named the top small business by the London Chamber of Commerce. So there was over 400 submissions. We were in the top, obviously, in the nominations, and we were awarded the top small business in London. So that and finally, the last symbol there, the last logo, is the my business partner, Adam Wissink, and also co-founder, was awarded the London Inc. Magazine 20 Under 40 Award for excellence in the London area. So very proud of him for achieving that goal. And this isn't, to brag or, well, maybe just a little bit, but just to demonstrate that, to show our commitment to continuous improvement, raising the standards professionally and personally in our industry, in the communities that we live and work in, and for those people that we work with, to strive for that excellence, to do things the right way, and again on that thinking of we can help people, leave them in a better position, and still make a great return on the investment and the time that we spend. So I want to talk a little bit about how it all works, or how the plan would move forward, right? So you might be asking yourself, well, okay, this sounds great. We can make a social impact. I just got my statement for my RSPs, and those were terrible, and I'm looking for something else. I don't want to be working my whole life for a paycheck. I want to invest. How does it all work? So first step is really, thank you for being here or for watching this presentation. That this is that first step, is getting some more information, and that will continue. So let's get set up. Learn to see if it's the right fit. book a one-on-one phone call with myself. We can discuss a little bit more detail about your personal situation, why you want to invest, what goals that you want to achieve by investment. But also we're going to determine the time frame and the investment level that you're comfortable with, right? Moving forward, what you'd be able to, get pre-qualified for, if there's a certain amount of capital that you've earmarked for investment, if you are able and willing to qualify for financing or for mortgages, understanding where you currently are in that process, right? Of what the next steps are. Saying, you know what, I do want to put my money to work. I don't know where to get started. We could talk about your, personal situation. So getting set up, booking a one-on-one call with me, and determining that investment level, the time frame, maybe some specifics that certain areas that you don't want to invest in, or certain types of properties, or certain types of clients. Going through some examples of actual clients that we've worked with, and we will go through one of those as well too today. Of an actual example. So once we've determined that, and we've determined the time frame, determined the investment level that you're comfortable with, what we'll do is match you with one of our approved tenant buyers, or our clients. So we interchangeably use those words, tenant buyer, client, and we'll go through once they've been approved, because they've gone through our comprehensive, in-depth screening process, right? Our team has worked with them to understand what they'll be able to qualify for, what things they need to do to improve their financial situation so they can eventually own the home. So, kind of a quick overview of the process is essentially we look for people that can't qualify for conventional financing. They've been turned down by the bank or by a mortgage agent or mortgage company, that they can't get qualified. And we'll understand, is it their income, their down payment, their credit score, combination of those reasons of why they can't qualify, and then we'll approve them and say, okay, based on your income, based on your credit, based on your down payment, we're looking at a 3-year rent-to-home program. You're going to be qualified for a certain amount. We'll give them a budget. Let's just say, a $500,000 budget. They'll go out and shop and look for that home. Once they've determined that's the home that they want to live in, the area, it's close to work or schools or family or whatever, draws them to that area. They get to choose the home, and that's essentially when our that marriage or that connection happens. Is basically our joint venture partners start working with us to buy the property that the clients have chosen, right? So we'll, at that point there, we've determined what their monthly payment will be, what the monthly cash flow will be, how much they need to save, what we're going to sell the home back for at the end of their program. And at that point there, we start building the path to home ownership for another family. So at that point there, we buy the home. And then the best part, or one of the best parts, is that now you get to start collecting that monthly ROI, that monthly cash flow on a monthly basis, right? So it's our job, JAAG's job, to collect the rent, take care of all the headaches, the management, whether it's the property or the tenant. Leave that to us. We're following up with that client to making sure that they're doing everything that they need to do. We are going to be sending a quarterly report to make sure that our joint venture partners are aware of what's going on with the clients, with the property, if everything is on track, or if there are things that need to be updated or addressed throughout that program. We're in constant communication with our joint venture partners, making sure that they're aware of what's going on. So that we collect the monthly, you start collecting your monthly cash flow at that point there. And then finally, we complete the investment. We facilitate the sale of the home back to the tenant buyer at an appreciated value, and that's predetermined at the beginning of the program. So the tenant buyer, our joint venture partner, JAAG, everybody involved, the mortgage specialist that the client's working with, they all know what they're going to be buying the home for at the end of the program. They complete that journey, and now that family is a new homeowner, and then we do that over and over and over again. So we address those issues. So that's kind of an overview. Obviously, it's kind of the 30,000-foot view of the program. That's why it is so important, to kind of book a one-on-one call to understand, your specific needs, time frames, any specific questions that you have about the program itself, and all the what ifs and can theys. Those are bound to come up as well too. However, getting set up, figuring out the time frame, purchasing the home that the tenant buyer has been approved for and chosen, collecting the monthly cash flow, and getting earning that money, for you, and then selling that home back for the tenant buyer is that overview. So the ways that we protect our clients, whether it's our tenant buyers, whether it's our joint venture partners, is through some agreements. So we obviously sign our joint venture agreement. That is between JAAG and you, our joint venture partner. It outlines all the details of the investment, what the monthly returns are, what the end return is, what the monthly payment looks like, what the initial investment looks like. All those details are outlined in our joint venture agreement. The property, the area, the timeframes, all that good stuff is listed on our joint venture agreement. And then with the tenant lease agreement and the purchase option contract, that is between you, the joint venture partner, and the tenant buyer. That covers the specifics of the program, like what the monthly payment is, how much of that monthly payment is going to be credited back to the tenant buyer at the end to be used for a down payment, how long the program is, what they're buying the home for at the end of the program. All the specifics of the purchase option and the lease option agreement are outlined for them in that agreement. And then finally is our social agreement. So that's not necessarily signed or a written formal agreement, but that's a commitment to improve the society, improve the relationships, improve a kind of the world in general, and to achieve a win-win-win outcome for everyone involved. So that's between our tenant buyers, our joint venture partners, between JAAG, between all of the power team members that we work with, the mortgage brokers, the realtors, home inspectors, insurance agents, lawyers, appraisers, all the different people that we work with to say, we want this to be a win-win-win. If there's only one person winning, that means the others are losing. So we want everybody to benefit and grow from this situation. So, you're here tonight. And again, I appreciate the time for you being here. Obviously, you've identified that you need to do something. You want to make some type of investment. And thank you for considering JAAG as one of those options. So, don't wait. Take that time to understand, but then go to that next level. Take the strategy. Register on our joint venture page. Schedule a one-on-one call. I'll show you guys how to do that in just a second. I'll put some links in the chat so that you can schedule a call and register on our joint venture page as well. You'll be able to get access to some previous projects, some real life examples, overview of the, a more in-depth overview of the rent-to-home solution, some details, again, the what ifs and can theys. There are only a limited amount of people that we can actually help. So I want you to make sure that you are taking that action. You are registering, and you are starting that process to get on there. So I think as we get to the end of this presentation, kind of let me paint the picture of what life would look like when you do partner with JAAG Properties. You would receive a predictable and stable return while making a positive impact. Enjoy hassle-free investing without any additional headaches or worries. Work with a company that has a proven track record of success. So, just next week, we're celebrating 8 years of business that we've been incorporated. It was about 1.5 years or 2 years before that my business partner and I, entered into this industry, educating ourselves, learning about rent to own, and all this. So you can experience those returns while turning dreams of ownership into reality and helping others achieve their goals. So I want to give an example, a real life example of some of the people that we've been able to help. So obviously this is not the real family. This is a stock image, or they're very good looking, airbrushed and touched up. But I want to give a real life example of some of the, one example of clients that we've helped with. So I've talked about the clients that we help. So this is a tenant buyer story, of some of the, an example of who you would be helping. So the tenant buyers were, a young couple in their late 30s, young family with 2 children. They've been married for 2 years, married for 10 years with 2 children under the age of 8. They wanted to live in the London area to be close to their family and work and their children's schools. They had, established income. Their annual income was approximately $140,000 combined. The husband worked as a locksmith and had his own business for 12 years. The wife was an administrative professional at the University of Western for just over 7 years. They had okay credit, some fair credit. Their credit scores were 655 and hers was 608. So it wasn't phenomenal, but it was okay. Both had some consumer debt that needed to be paid down because of schooling, because of life circumstances. They had some debt that needed to be paid down. And by the end of the 3-year program, with the help from our credit team, they were able to improve their credit score, pay off their consumer debt. They saved over 7% for their deposit to put down towards their mortgage, and qualified for their own mortgage financing and now are successful homeowners. So again, like we talk about, making that return on impact, this trajectory, those kids that were 8 and 10 years old, um, uh, that's changed the trajectory for that family. Those kids now have a place to call home. Those parents now have a secure investment in themselves, where over time they'll build equity and potentially invest more and invest in themselves and change the trajectory for those children, and get out of that rent cycle. So those are the types of families that we help with our program, and what motivates us to do more and more of these. So some of you that are really interested in about the numbers, how the numbers work. These are just some examples of what the partnership would look like. Typical capital required is anywhere from 100,000 to 150,000. The length of the term typically are 36 months. Our programs can be anywhere from 2 years to 4 years, but the majority are 3 years, and that's just the time that it takes to improve credit, save up down payment, make sure that the proper income and tax returns are filed properly. So that's a typical length of our programs, 36 month. And you'll be looking at an average return on investment of 18% per year. So we think that's pretty attractive, in terms of what's available out there. Yeah, about an 18% or more return on investment on a year-to-year basis. And then the monthly cash flow, like we talked about, that I used to call it mailbox money, but you can call it inbox or email money, if you will, that you would receive on a monthly basis, is approximately $500 or more per month. So those are just some of the high level, again, generalities of our typical programs on average, what you can expect. So for those that obviously are interested in the numbers. So again, I said, how you can get in contact with us. That's my email. You can reach me there. Visit our website at jagproperties.com. You can be in touch with us via phone at 1-866-JAG-NOW. And I am going to put it in the chat box as well too. But to get on and register for our joint venture registration page, you can jump onto there, www.jagproperties.com/JVP. I'm going to put that into the chat box as well, so that you'll be able to click on that link and visit that right away. And excited to chat with each of you to understand your own personal situations. But please don't delay. Don't delay. Make sure that you get in touch with us now. Like I said, we can't help everyone. We only have a limited amount of people that we can help. So getting in touch with us and in reaching out again today. So as we end this presentation, like I said, we'll get into some questions and answers. But there's a quote that I always like to share, is that it was I think originally from Zig Ziglar, and he said, "You can have everything in your life you want if you will just help enough other people get what they want." And really, that's the basis of our program, is that we'll be able to achieve all our goals, all our dreams, if we're able to help enough other people achieve their goals and their dreams. So thank you so much for your time tonight. I really appreciate you taking the time to be here, giving your attention, and let's open it up for some questions. So let's do that. All right, so can everybody still hear me? I stopped the screen share on there, but I do see a couple questions here in the chat. And if you do have some questions, please feel free to unmute yourself and go ahead and ask away. So quick tip, those are the questions that I'll ask first, or answer first, I should say, if you do unmute yourself or put those into the chat. So Natalie asked, is that 500 cash flow after loan payback or before? For example, I would have to get a HELOC to do an investment like this. Is the $500 after my loan payback? So the $500, that would be, like, again, that's an average monthly cash flow of what the deal would return. So obviously everybody has different access of funds, whether it's HELOCs, lines of credits, personal capital. So not knowing what that return, that 500 is what the deal would actually yield, that $500 per month. So if you had to pay, an interest on that HELOC, and let's just say it was, I don't know, $200 a month, and you're receiving $500 a month from JAG, then you would be getting a $300 profit, if you will, after paying back the or servicing the interest on that. So I hope that answers your question, Natalie. Awesome. Let me just scroll up here to see if I've missed any questions here. Kylie asked, "What's the minimum investment?" Yeah, so it is dependent on each individual project, each individual tenant buyer or property that we're buying. But those anywhere from $100,000 to $150,000 is typically the capital required. And then obviously the mortgage qualification, if you are interested in that or able to do that, would be dependent on the project as well too. So hopefully that that helps answer the question, Kylie. All right, we have another question here from Jeremy. If the tenant buyer doesn't buy the house at the end of the program, either didn't qualify for the mortgage or other circumstances. So yeah, great question. Those are the what ifs, can they's. So again, because we're working with our tenant buyers, with our clients on a very consistent basis, we try to avoid that as much as possible. But yeah, there are circumstances where the tenant buyer isn't able to purchase or go through with the purchase at the end. If we've already extended the program, based on, hey, they needed a little bit more time to improve their credit or save up more, or maybe there's lending rules that have changed. But if we've extended all of our different options to the tenant buyer and they're still not able to purchase the home at the end, at that point there, we would sell the property. It is an asset that we still control, so that we would sell the property on the open market, maximize what we would be able to get or to sell it for. Again, we want to leave a good impression or leave a good impact. Potentially, maybe return some of that deposit. It is on a case per case basis on how we would handle that. But if the tenant buyer isn't able to qualify or buy that home at the end of the program, again, it's still an asset that yourself, the joint venture partner, owns, and that we would have different options, whether to sell, to repurpose, to use it as a rental. But again, yeah, we would obviously want to make sure that we are maximizing the return or maximizing our profit. So in those cases, we would we would sell that property now on the open market to somebody else, and not unfortunately not those tenant buyers. Again, depending on that situation, everyone is a little bit different, but yeah, we would sell that property at the end. Hopefully that helps answer your question there, Jeremy. Any other questions from the group on some what ifs or can they's? I think I addressed, yeah, like most of our programs are anywhere between 2 and 4 years. We work across all of Ontario and actually in 5 other provinces as well. Most of our business is Ontario, from as far west as Windsor, Sarnia, all the way east to Ottawa. We go north, we're up as far as North Bay, Barrie, Midland, around the Golden Horseshoe, Niagara area. So kind of covering all corners of the province, different areas. Again, because we're going where the clients want to own their home. That's the most important part for us, is that they're close to work, their family, schools for their children, whatever is important to them. So those are the different areas that we work in. Okay. Any other questions from the group here? So again, whether it's unmuting yourself, if you want to enter into the chat. I know I'm not the fastest typer, so if you wanted to unmute yourself and ask a question too, that'd be fine. Yeah, so do you provide any guidance or tips on how the joint venture partners deals with taxes? So again, we're not accountants, we're not lawyers. We have professionals that we work with, but we can definitely refer you to some of the best in the business when it comes to whether it's real estate investing or rent a home specifically. So we work with, quick shout out to BDO, a great company that we work with that again, for most of us, do our personal taxes, but again, work with a lot of our joint venture partners as well, and they're very familiar on how to incorporate, whether it's the monthly cash flow, the sellback at the end. So we can give some high level guidance, but obviously it's every person has a different situation depending on their income, depending on their life situation, depending on their goals. But definitely we can put you in touch and refer you to some of the best in the business that will be able to guide you on more specific questions and more specific to your circumstances. So absolutely. Great questions, by the way, Jeremy.
Yeah, so I do have a couple questions. Would we just be like providing in this joint venture, would we be providing the investment for the property? Like we're not putting our credit score or like our mortgage on the line. It'd be the person who's renting to own.
Well, so there's two ways that we work with our joint venture partners. I guess no particular order. Yes, you can just invest capital only, where you wouldn't have to qualify for financing, no credit checks or anything like that. It would just be basically capital only. The second way is providing the capital and qualifying for the mortgage financing, where you would require a credit check and get qualified by a bank or lender to qualify for that mortgage. So there are two separate ways. One is just capital only. Another is capital and qualifying for the financing and mortgage. So depending on your situation, you'd be able to let us know what you prefer or what is your method. Awesome. Thank you. Thanks for the question. And again, like to the same effect of assistance with our tax professionals, we can help and put you in touch with some of the best mortgage agents or mortgage brokers in the industry that we work with as well. That would be able to walk you through the process of the qualification, all the document collection that you would need to do or provide for them as well. So again, we can put you in touch with those mortgage specialists and agents as well that would be able to, if you're not already working with one that you like or have a good relationship with.
Sorry, I got one more. I guess with that
No
monthly cash flow, you get your say $500, and then at the end you'd either sell the property to the rent to own, and then you'd get your possible initial investment back, or how would that work? Just curious.
Yeah, so there is the monthly cash flow that you'd receive on an ongoing basis for the length of the rent to own project, as well as when we sell back the home to the client, to the tenant buyer at the end, there is a lift. There is a profit as well too when we sell back, and then that's when you would receive the initial investment. So whether it's that $150,000, that's when that initial investment is returned, and you'd be making cash flow throughout the say 36 months of the term, as well as a profit at the end when we sell the home back, and then you receive that at your initial investment at the end of the term as well. Does that help answer the question? Awesome. Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Hey, Alfonso.
Hi.
Hi, it's Natalie speaking. Hello, everyone. Regarding Caitlin's last question, so if I'm investing just capital only, so in that scenario, I wouldn't necessarily be selling the home back because I wouldn't have owned the home to begin with, correct?
That's right. So in those circumstances, yeah, that's when JAAG as a company would qualify for the financing or be on title of the home, right? So yeah, you wouldn't necessarily be selling the home. We would be selling the home, but the same kind of effect where that initial investment or the capital that you initially invested would be returned at the end when we successfully sell the home. So in both circumstances, it's really a true partnership where we want the program to succeed. Obviously, the tenant buyers want the program to succeed. Our joint venture partners want the program to succeed, and that's why the screening, the types of clients that we allow into the program are fully vetted and screened to enter into the program.
Okay, thank you.
No problem. Great question. Awesome, guys. So I'm happy to hang on to answer any other questions that you guys have. I don't have any hair tips or hair advice for you guys, so I apologize. But yeah, please, if there are any other questions, I'm trying to think of some of our frequently asked questions for our clients. Again, another benefit of our rental home program, the maintenance. If anything comes up, like a sink leaks, a toilet breaks, a roof damage, floods, all those types of things. Those are the responsibilities of the tenant buyer, the future homeowner that's going to own that home, right? So you don't have to worry about any additional capital requirement in terms of fixing bathrooms or kitchens or roofs or basements or plumbing or electrical or those types of things. Those are the responsibilities of the tenant buyer. We're making sure and maintaining that they are keeping up to date, I should say, with all the maintenance of the program. Like I said, we go every 3 months, visit the property physically, walking through. We call it our follow-up visit, making sure that the property is still being maintained and in good shape. It still is ours until they own that home. But we're also meeting with the tenant buyers, the clients, making sure that they're on track. That whether it's improving their credit, saving up the down payment, claiming the income properly, that they're doing all those things to be successful and own the home at the end of the program as well. Yeah, I guess something that I didn't mention either is that at the beginning of the program, when when the tenant buyer is going out and choosing the home, I did mention that they get to select that home. However, we are still doing our due diligence, having a professional home inspector that does a home inspection, making sure that things are in good working order, that there's no major concerns or a state of disrepair where I don't know that there's going to be significant investment needed to I don't know update electrical or the plumbing is old or the roof is on its last legs, right? So we're also conducting a home inspection with the tenant buyers beforehand so that we know that we're actually buying a sound property, a safe and stable property at the beginning of the program as well. So yeah, that should be mentioned as well too. So yeah, and obviously you have access to that report, be able to read it, go through it, ask any additional questions. Our team is there in person along with the tenant buyer, with the home inspector, making sure that yeah, everything is in good working order. So yeah, what else? Yeah, I guess a common question I get is who are the types of clients that enter into our program. The one example that I gave you, it was mostly because they didn't have the down payment, the full down payment saved. Our clients need a minimum of 3% to enter into the program, so they do have to have something down. It's more than just first and last month's rent. They have to put something down to actually the quote unquote skin in the game to enter into the program. But we see all different types of clients, whether it's newcomers into the country, self-employed individuals, young professionals that are just starting out their careers. So these are the people that we're actually investing in, right? So our process is pretty in depth. Our team is doing phone calls with them, emailing back and forth, getting to know our clients, whether it's at the home inspection. So we get to know our clients pretty well before we ever enter into a 2, 3, 4 year agreement with them. Obviously no one has the crystal ball and we can't predict what can happen. However, we're doing everything possible beforehand, putting our checks and measures in place to prevent any of those issues that could arise. So awesome, guys. Well, if there are no other questions, like I said, please, I'll put that into the chat box here again. You can schedule a one-on-one call. You can go on to our joint venture partner registration page, fill out some details and information. Our team will be happy. It'll be me or somebody else from our team that will be reaching out, setting up a call, going through your personal situation, what your goals are, what you want to achieve out of this. But yeah, if there are no other questions, I truly appreciate your time, the attention that you gave tonight, and I wish you the best, and hopefully have a great evening, and hopefully talk to you in the future very soon. Have a great evening, everyone. Take care.
Thank you. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Properties, helping you own your home.